Yeah. PTV Productions, the Cultural Preservation Station. Tune in. Tune in. Hey yo. Black education, cultural preservation, Taylor BTV, because elevation. Tune into the station, we rockin' the whole nation. That's right, we rockin' the whole nation, prepping new generation for mental activation. Taylor BTV's the new sensation. Stop the hesitation and learn something new. My girl Taylor B's here to show and prove. Terrorist shit.
Peace, 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 and bless. Thank you so much. Welcome to Teller BTV Productions, the Cultural Preservation Station. I'm Teller B, and you're tuned in to B.E.E.C.A.U.S.E. If we don't, who will? Where Black education empowers, creating all unity, saving everything. Tonight, we have a special show for you. Of course, we know we don't have the panel show tonight. We have a special guest on tonight, and we're going to be learning about the Black Gold Nation. We're going to be learning some great things about that nation and find out what they have in store and what they're building for the community. I want to give a special shout out to those that are tuning in the audience. Let me go over here real quick and bring this up, and we're going to bring our guest on very shortly. So if you guys are tuning in the audience, thank you so much. You're a part of our show. You're an integral part of what we do. Please share the show, follow, go subscribe, tell your friends about it. Someone inboxed me earlier and said, how can we get your show out more and get more people involved? I'm like, share. You got to just share it and word of mouth and tell people about it and things like that. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and bring our guest on tonight. Give me 1 second to add him to our stream. Here we go. Great. Thank you so much. So this is our guest tonight, Tamani Muwandani. Did I pronounce that correctly?
No, ma'am.
I knew I wasn't. Go ahead and correct me on the pronunciation of your name. Let's do that first.
It is Tamani M. Wandani.
M. Wandani. Tamani. I got Tamani right.
Oh, you got Tamani right. Yeah, you got that much done.
I'm close, right? I'm close. Let me give a round of applause to myself. I'm close, right? So all right. So let's go ahead and get started. So thank you so much for being here tonight. I want to give you a chance to go ahead and introduce yourself to our audience first. Give us a little bit about yourself and your background before we get into the Black Gold Nation.
Okay. My name is Mani Wandani. I hear an echo like that, like something that happens.
Okay, it should be good now.
Okay. Yeah, wait a minute. Cool. All right. Thank you.
Good now? Yeah, Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
So, my name is Tamani. My background, I'm from South Carolina. Went into the military at a relatively young age, which was a good move for me because I was getting into too much trouble younger. And started to do a lot of reading and learn some things about myself, Black people I didn't know growing up from the South Carolina public education system. A lot of things they left out. So the more I read, the more I was just blown away by what my people had accomplished. Changed my name while I was in the military. And from that point moving forward, I was on a path. I joined a church in Houston, Texas called the Shrines of the Black Madonna. And that was an absolutely phenomenal church. And what we were involved in was literal nation building, controlling the environment in which we live. So I've been very, very, very blessed and fortunate to have lived in a community that was owned and controlled by Black people here in Houston, Texas for over 20 years. My children were raised in that environment. So I know what it feels like to be with a group of Black people trying to do the same thing to build for the next generation. My children did not grow up afraid. They didn't grow up wondering where they were going to eat. They didn't grow up worried about drug dealers. My kids were taught how to read, write, potty train, meditate, martial arts. My oldest, weapons training from Black people, because we control the space. And I tell people all the time, it was the closest thing to heaven that Black people will ever see, because we were in control of the environment and we didn't have issues that so many of our communities have. I saw one police officer, on the property in 20 years, and that's because we called them, because we took some people in after Katrina, Hurricane Katrina, and they had a different value system, so we had to kick them out. It had to be legal. But can you imagine a black community that don't need the police because everybody's on the same page and we had our own security? So when the founder passed, things started to change a little bit. My wife and I weren't really happy with those changes, and we were already going to move into our first house anyway. So I took a maybe a 3 4 year break. Then maybe 2 3 years later, started activity back in the community. Eventually wrote my book, Black Gold Devalued, in 2016. Started the movement in 2016, and been working on this path since then. So that's a little bit about me and how I got here.
So that's great. So tell us about the Black Gold Nation. So that was 2016, and what year did you? I know there's other founders, so we'll get into that too. But when did you get involved with the Black Gold Nation, and how did that come about?
Oh, I am the founder of the Black.
You were the founder. So I was reading a little on the website. So you have some co-creators with you and some leadership with you on there, but you are the founder. So that's great. So what year did you
Founded the Black Nation?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 2016. Shortly after I wrote my book is when I said, okay, I need to take this thing beyond just writing a book. You know, a lot of people write books and read books. That didn't change anything. So, you know, I needed to get active in the community. So the goal was to put what was in the book into action and motion. And again, my background coming out of the Shrine, I felt like I had an idea of some things that we could do as a people. And I knew that I could not do that without other Black people. So the first thing that I did was reach out to Black people nationwide by having a national leadership election. We did that in 2017, and as a result of that, we ended that election with 14 national leaders that eventually grew to 18, one international department that eventually became two, and now our second leadership election is this June. It was supposed to be last year, but COVID kind of threw that off, and that's how we got here.
That's great. That's great. So I see that the vision for Black Gold Nation is to create physically safe communities for Black people in America, whereby we can better determine our future by 100% controlling our environment.
That's right.
So yeah, so that's wonderful. That seems like that's the goal for all of us. What we're trying to do in a community, and you've started this with Black Gold Nation. So tell me, is this just local to Houston, or like how far reach do you guys have nationally?
Oh, no, we have ambassadors, and we call them ambassador after they make it through a certain level of training. We got ambassadors in 45 cities and 16 countries, and we are just now preparing them to start building in the community the way we need to. A lot of us, Sister Taylor, as you just said, a lot of us, we like the idea of Black people owning and are controlling the space where we live. But the practical steps to making that happen, most of us don't understand completely because we have yet to do it. So what we're saying,
I think we don't understand it, and sometimes we don't have the means to. I think
well,
is
right, and that's where I am saying we don't fully understand it because we do have the means. We just don't see it because we've never been taught how is involvement and political control. If we know that people win the mayor position in a city, and a mayor runs the city, then why can't a Black person with the right mindset, the right team, run a city? So there are over 1,700 predominantly Black spaces in this country, and we're saying that we Black people, conscious-minded Black people, for us, Black is not just melanin, it's melanin and state of mind. And if you don't have that state of mind for us, you're not Black, you're Negro or something else. So there's a distinction. We're like Chris Rock. We love Black people and hate the N-word. So we're saying that we can most certainly run cities by being politically organized, politically mobilized, politically astute, and by us voting. And that's not something that's far-fetched because we've done it before. We don't have to go out and raise money and buy land and try and build from scratch because that's going to take a lot of money, a lot of resources, and most of us don't understand how difficult that's going to be. Instead of doing that, you can simply mobilize and organize with the right Black people, build a team on the ground in the municipality that you're trying to go after, and vote. And if you get the right black people in office, you can most certainly run a municipality. And that is our focus. Building teams of black people nationwide that understand that this thing is about power. They understand we're not going to be able to do what we want to do if we don't control the levers that govern our lives. And to do that, you got to vote and you got to be politically involved. But of course, that's just one aspect of our revolutionary struggle. We got to do other things as well because we still got to be able to feed ourselves. We got to be able to employ ourselves as much as possible. We got to protect ourselves. We got to educate ourselves. So it's not just one thing that we have to do. We understand that politics is a big part of it. But I hear people saying all the time, we got to do politics first. No, we got to do spirituality. No, we got to do education. No, we got to do business. And everybody's wrong because we don't have the luxury of doing one of anything at a time. We got to do all this stuff simultaneously. We got to design the plane, build the plane, fly the plane, clean the plane, and serve tea and crackers on the plane at the same time. So we don't have the luxury of one problem or one thing at a time. We have to do this simultaneously because our situation is so dire. But I tell you, Sister Taylor, if anybody can do it, black people can. Because anything we put our minds
Absolutely.
to, anything we put our minds to, good, bad, or otherwise, we will take some BS to the next level, and the world will follow us because we black. We make everything fall.
Absolutely. And our culture is the most sought after culture, in the world.
That
So
our culture is America's greatest export, and it's sadly that we don't own or control any of it, which is
exactly.
phenomenal. It's a
Yeah.
phenomenal reality that just
They, they've monetized it and then made ways to just
of
make us
course,
still slaves within
yeah,
it. Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
and, and I don't necessarily blame them for doing it. I blame us for allowing it to happen.
Yeah. I agree. I agree because we do allow it to happen. So in the different states that you guys are organized in, you have ambassadors in. So you guys are actually pretty much like grassroots on the ground, trying to get other black people on board with being active in the political arena. Because I mean, at the end of the day,
Yeah,
that's the only way we're going to really make real changes, to get involved and be in
exactly.
Congress, to be a part of those bills and a part of those conversations on the floor where we're represented properly.
Yeah, we are most certainly focused locally. We like to say, think globally, act locally. It's good to vote for the president. It's good to vote for someone in Congress, someone in the Senate. But what happens to you happens where you live. What affects your livelihood is affected by the politics that govern your life in your city. So we absolutely must uh, act and operate and mobilize and organize locally because that's where we are. We're not opposed to national elections. We're not opposed to Senate or Congress. But what's most important, if you don't control your local environment or your local space, what happens in these other spaces really don't matter. So we really need to control the local first, with the understanding that we have to build out. But you don't start taking care of what's outside your home before you start taking care of what's inside your home. So what's our inside
Right.
home is where we live, the community, the zip code, the neighborhood, the street. We got to control that stuff locally. And then once we get that locked down and we learn how to really run a city, because there's a lot involved in running a city. Once we get that part done, then there's nothing that can stop us because we'll know how to do it, and it's going to be a blueprint. We go from there.
Yeah, we can go, and in everything that we do, we excel in anyway. So
Yep.
definitely, I believe nothing could stop us.
Yep.
So one of our viewers are chiming in, and they said a successful team is when everybody plays their position for one common cause. Yes, Bert, I definitely agree with that. And I know Brother Tamani agrees with that too. And that's the whole thing, especially what you're doing with Black Gold Nation.
Yep.
It's really a platform to bring us together. Like we always say, the solution is, oh, we have to come together as one. We have to be on one common accord. We
Yes.
have to have unity. And even what my show is about, with bringing, creating all unity to save everything.
Hmm.
So I really applaud you because your platform is really a place where we can come together, where we can have a location for a common cause for that unity. So I mean, kudos to you for founding the Black Gold Nation.
Yep.
I think it's awesome. So
And
let's
let me
go
address
ahead.
Brother Burke's comment, if I will.
Sure.
Uh, the brother is spot on, Sister Taylor, and that's something that we don't fully grasp and realize. We're so caught up in individualism. I get mine, you get yours. I do my thing, you do your thing, and that's one of the reasons why we constantly lose. We don't understand that this is a team sport. Our enemies play as teams. They play as a unit. And we can't figure out why we keep losing. Well, we keep losing because not only are we not involved in the political game, and politics is war, but we don't even have a team. We don't even have a uniform. We're not even in the
Yeah,
same
we don't have a
team.
team. We don't have a logo. We don't have a uniform.
We don't have anything. We don't have anything. And we're so busy trying to, take care of ourselves that we don't understand that, the white man promotes and pushes individualism, but he most certainly plays as a team. As a matter of fact, he will put aside his differences with other Caucasian people to deal with any melanated group that tries to rise. So the brother is right and exact. And I will say that we are not, it would be good to have everybody because everybody's not ready. We are fighting for our survival. So you got to have people on the team that are serious and ready. We love to talk. We love to talk about what needs to happen, and we want to post on social media and blah 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 blah. But if you're not willing to put in the time to really, I was in another meeting to get in here for the interview, and we in there talking about how we're going to mobilize and organize Black people in Houston, Texas, moving forward. We have candidates that we're running, and if you're not ready, willing, and able to do that kind of work, then you're not ready for what needs to be done. And again, talking and posting on social media is not going to change anything. So the brother is right and exact. And we're not looking for everybody. We're looking for those that are ready. And again, unfortunately, that's not everybody.
Right. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's not everybody. But the work you're doing, even the work I'm doing, bringing to the forefront, is what we just have to keep doing in our grind to, sure. Finally try to get there one day. Even if it's slowly but surely. Sometimes slowly but surely wins the race. So I wanted to get into some of the other things that you guys offer through the Black Gold Nation. I wanted to talk about some of the solutions that you guys have. I love the solution section on the website. So youth development, political action, adult education, mobilization and organization, and a leadership election. So let's get into the youth development. Talk about that, and what are some of the things that you guys get the youth involved with your organization.
So the name of our youth program is called Tahimba. That's an African word that means we stand as a nation, because we understand that we have to get our young people to realize that if you don't get more young people to stand with you, as I just said, it's a team sport, you're going to lose, period. So we got to get our children to understand that you absolutely must have other young people working with you, because it's just you and those other Black people, the other Black youth. And if you don't have them, then again, you're not going to lose, because you're up against other teams that do work together to move their needle forward. So that's why it's called Tahimba, for that reason. And what we're trying to do is we want to prepare our children to not just go to trade school or college to get a job, but again, we have to prepare them to run cities. Because again, if we don't control the local environment, then we're going to continue to get what we've been getting. And when other people run our political space, we always seem to find out do it. Other people don't care about Black people. Are we back? Okay. So the Black community exists for people to prey upon and get rich, and that's what they do. So we want to prepare our youth to understand our history, understand what we've been through, understand what we're up against. We want to teach them how to program, how to build computers, teach them how to work together, teach them how to be politically active. So we want to give them every single thing that they need as they grow up, to understand that it's about me and other people who look like me, and we have to work together as a team so we can run this space where we live. And if we can't run it because we're not the majority, then we can at least have political leverage and make some things happen that way. So that's what time is on.
Yeah. So that's great. I love that. I love any programs that involve youth development, and I love the whole approach that you have to your solution-based platform. So to speak. So let's talk about the adult education, because I think we covered mostly the political action and where you guys are headed with that. What about the adult education? What kind of programs and things? Because I love that piece to it too. Because as adults, we still have a lot to learn, and there's a lot of us that are running around as adults, like you said. We've gone through school, we've gone through even college and all these things, and we still don't know basic facts about even just our history. Which really leads you to not know where you're going to go, and lead you to make the same mistakes that we've made in the past, because You never, cycled out of it. So, what does the adult education piece of your solution entail?
So what you just said, as far as how much educated Black people we have, but how little do we know? That reminds me of something that Curtis Mayfield says, R&B icon. Educated fools from uneducated schools. So we have degrees, but do we really know what's going on? So we have uh, 4 different online mechanisms that we use. We had 3, but we're about to launch a 4th one, to get our adults on the right page, on the same page as it relates to building this thing for us. We have a podcast on Thursday, every Thursday at 9 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. Eastern, called The Revolutionary Code. And all of these you can find on our website, blackgonation.com, or if you go to YouTube and type in Black Go Nation, then our channel will pop up. But the Revolutionary Code is about politics and how this system actually works. And most people don't have a clue as to how this thing actually works, because they think that the system is broken, because we've been raised to believe that the system is fair, it's for everybody, it's equitable, blah 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 blah. But that's not how this thing works. So the Revolutionary Code is about getting our people to understand how politics works in this system ran by white people, and how we can maneuver within this matrix and build something for ourselves. We have our every other Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern. We have a movie review every other week where we discuss different movies and documentaries as it relates to our forward progress and what we need to be doing in this system, how this system functions, how they use propaganda, how they murder one another. You can learn a lot from watching certain movies, and you can most certainly learn a lot from watching certain documentaries. So we do that on Saturdays. We have a podcast on Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m. 6:30 p.m. Central, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, called How to Build a Black Nation with Power. That focuses on 3 key issues to building a Black nation with power. One, you got to have a strong foundation that you built on, and the Black Gold Nation is built on the Shrines of the Black Madonnas Foundation, which started in 1953. You got to have strong leadership, hence the leadership that we have, and us interviewing candidates for the upcoming election. And you have to have a spiritual connection with yourself and a higher power. If we don't have those 3 things, we will never have a strong Black nation with power. And then the last one, excuse me, is our spiritual podcast that starts on the 16th. I think, if not mistaken, it's today is the 6th, so it starts on the 16th, and that's going to be at 7:30 p.m. Central, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, and that's called Spiritual Sankofa. And it's about understanding that spirituality is everything. We are all born with it, but we never have an opportunity to really discover our spirituality and spiritual connection, because the system we live in is oppressive. It holds that stuff down. It's very difficult to be who you're supposed to be when the system is anti-you and anything on that level, because the white man's system is not the African system, and they don't think like us, they don't do like us. And it's very difficult for a Black person to be everything that they're supposed to be when the system is anti all of that stuff. So spirituality is a huge component to our liberation struggle, and that is why we're having that 4th podcast that starts on the 16th, called Spiritual Sankofa. So what we're doing right now, until we can get Black people in a classroom, we do it online, and we have 4 different mechanisms that we use to try and educate Black people as to how this thing works, how we can build within it, how the enemy operates, how the system functions, and how we really, if we really want empowerment and freedom, we're going to have to do certain things. We're not going to pray it into existence. We're not going to get some nonprofit dollars from white people and it's going to all of a sudden happen. No one is going to give us power. So we got to understand what's what and realize that we're born into a war that we didn't start. And the only way you win a war is by understanding how your enemy operates, understanding how he or she maneuvers, and you boogie from there.
Absolutely. So let me ask, how many states do you have ambassadors in right now?
48.
And
48 cities. We're in about I think maybe 16 states.
Okay, well that's still good. That's great. That's great progress so far.
It's a good start.
So good. So do you guys have representation in Pennsylvania?
Not yet.
Okay. Well, me and you are going to make that happen.
Well, amen.
Yeah. So I'm looking here. So I want to get into some of the things that you guys are actually fighting for and that you're pushing back against. So we know obviously the unjust system. It looks like the school to prison pipeline is a big thing here on your thing. Tell me your thoughts about that, because I often feel like the school systems are a perfect place for you to learn how to go to prison, or to just work. Or it's not teaching you how to like you dream or live or be well. It teaches you like a certain way. You walk on this right side of the hall. You sit down. You wait for the bell ring. You wait till we tell you you can eat. And it's the same thing, really. If you look at the prison system, it's the same thing that they do in the prison system.
Indoctrination, for sure. Yeah, the kids are being institutionalized via the public education system, and it's actually a farce to call it a public education system. But what would you expect from someone who kidnapped us and brought us here to work and to be property? It was never meant for us to be equal or to have what other people have. It's like Brother Malcolm said, it's not an American dream, it's an American nightmare. And we have to keep in mind that those that run the system, they never want us to understand who and what we are. So of course they're not going to properly educate us, because that's not the purpose of the system. That's why everything that they have, we have to have. So we got to have our own educational system so we can educate our children as to exactly who and what they are. And they're not getting caught up in this American idealism, this American indoctrination, because it's always going to lead us astray. That's why you have so many of us, like you said earlier, Sister Taylor, so many of us that have letters before and after our name. We don't know, we know very little about how this thing really works. And sadly, a lot of us don't even care because we're caught up in this whole American thing. I've made it, you go make it, but you really haven't. You've been allowed to have certain things let other people think that they can have it too. But the vast majority of our people are not doing well at all. And as a group, we own and control nothing on a major level. So yeah, the school to prison pipeline is real. Is real because the 13th Amendment was signed, uh, making slavery illegal, and the 13th Amendment says that slavery is illegal unless in prison for committing a crime. And of course, that's when they brought out the black laws and the slave codes, and you could commit a crime by spitting on the ground, congregating in groups of 3 or more, looking a white person in the eye, looking at a white woman, just crazy stuff. But it's what they do, and all of that. The whole system is designed to continue to foster power for those in control and create a permanent underclass. This system doesn't function. Capitalism doesn't work. Capitalism doesn't work if there's not a permanent underclass. So there has to be someone to exploit, because that's what capitalism is, and that exploitative group is us.
Of course, it's us. And I wanted to touch too, because on and now everything that's going on politically with the critical race theory, and how basically, obviously, we know the critical race theory is basically American history that they don't want taught. They don't, exactly So that's exactly what it is. So what's so sad about it is a lot of these states are actually passing bills where it's going to be illegal to teach anything that pertains to our struggle and to our history and to what really happened. So I think that's why it's even more important that we do this and we kind of mobilize and get ourselves in the room, in the conversation, in the room where these bills are being passed, where our voice can be heard. Because it's crazy how they're like literally saying it's reverse racism, and which is crazy to me.
Yeah, well, it's what they always do. They would do. I like the brother who runs our political strategy and implementation department in our adult education division, Brother Craig B. Lee. Phenomenal brother. That's the brother that does the Revolutionary Code in our movie reviews. Awesome brother. We joke about the what they do to maintain control and power. When they say by any means necessary, they mean it. We just talking. They mean it.
Right.
So they have never educated us properly. They have always pushed back against history. And critical race theory, literally, Sister Taylor, critical race theory is not being taught in any school in America. It is a straw man. It's a red herring. It's something that a politician, I can't remember the guy's name, and I was on the show 3 nights ago with some other brothers talking about this.
And
Like,
Florida, DeSantis?
no, it wasn't DeSantis. I can't remember who it was. I don't think it was DeSantis. But there was a politician that said we're going to use critical race theory to we're going to make it an issue that it really isn't, because critical race theory is something that's taught in a graduate level course in college. It's not taught in any school in America. But of course, they've done such a great job, which is what they're good at, of marketing their message and promoting their message. You have people upset about something that doesn't even exist. No one is being taught that all white children and all white people are bad and all black people are victims. That's not even being taught. But that is what they've done with the whole critical race theory argument. And it's like you said, Sister Taylor, it's American history. Everything that's happened to us has happened because A, we didn't have the power to stop it. B, it was impossible for us to build power. And C, it was public policy. Slavery was public policy. Jim Crow was public policy. School to prison pipeline, public policy. Redlining, gentrification, public policy. The things that we've gone through because it's been the law of the land.
Yep.
But of course, they don't want you to know that, which is why they want to teach it. And you're 100% correct. Here in Texas, it's already illegal to teach African or Black history. But again, we have to not expect our enemies to educate and or teach us properly. No people should expect their enemies to educate their children. That's ridiculous.
Right.
Of course, we've been through so much. We've been conditioned to believe that they should treat us right. They should do right by us, which is ridiculous because they've proven that they're not going to do that, and they never have and they never will. We got to have our own stuff.
I believe so, and I feel like, I almost feel like it's like, should we be segregated? Because it's just like being, this other way doesn't seem like it's working out for us.
We are segregated.
Well, we are, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, we can go to Walmart and Chick-fil-A or whatever, but there's most certainly two different systems and two different classes in this country. But what we have to do is we have to do what our ancestors did. Most people don't know that after slavery, up until the early 1970s, Black people in America, after slavery, Black people used their separation as a basis to build power, and we established our own towns, villages, and cities.
Yeah.
Over 200 times. 200 times. Most people know about Black Wall Street.
Right.
That's one.
That's
they don't
one.
know about the other 199. So again.
So we can do it. But like somewhere along the line, we're lost now, though. It's like we were better then, almost mentally.
Well, we were in a different headspace for sure, but then we didn't have a choice because white people weren't allowing you to come hang out with them. Now, although we really still don't have a choice, we have the illusion of freedom. So we don't understand that you control nothing. You have zero power. If a law was passed tomorrow saying that all African descended people with melanin are going back into slavery, there'd be absolutely nothing that we could do. But a few of us are going to shoot back, of course. But we're going to cry and we're going to protest and we're going to march and this is wrong. But at the end of the day, we have zero power to stop anything. We got to understand that if we don't build something for ourselves, if we don't control some geography, if we don't start making some hashtag ninja moves, then we're going to lose. And a lot of us think that we got all the time in the world to get this right. We think that somebody's going to do it for us. Somebody's going to come back and do it for us. Somebody is going to do right by us. We're going to get reparations, all that. None of that is going to happen because in order for that
None
to
of
happen,
it.
You got to be able to have some power, or you got to be able to have some leverage to get that power.
Right.
And because we don't organized, we don't have it.
Yeah, or a foundation at least to even start on, which we don't have for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I want to go and I want to share a clip off of your site. And then I want you to comment on it. It's the safety from COINTELPRO. So just give me a minute to share the screen. Always on BTV Productions, we have a lot going on in the background. So let me get this here. Add it to the stream. All right. So Let me see if I can do this way.
The perfect cleanse and reboot for a healthy immune system. 100% natural. Miracle Food is suitable for all ages.
But anyway, we're gonna talk about one case, man. Nipsey Hussle, man. Rest in peace to the late great Nipsey Hussle, who passed away almost with 3 years now.
Yeah.
It's crazy. That is March 31st, 2019. Well, the LAPD is in the news today. Oh God, by way of all hip hop, and they are saying to start the conversation that the LA Police Department program called Operation Laser compared people to tumors that needed to be removed. Those people in particular being Nipsey Hussle and his crew. Now, according to The Guardian, the late great Nipsey Hussle was the focus of an LAPD program called Operation Laser, Los Angeles Strategic Extraction and Restoration, which attempted to use predictive policy technology to identify chronic offenders in specific locations linked to gun violence and gangs. Now, the police investigation called or looked up at Nipsey Hussle, his lifestyle, and basically a lot of his money and following his moves, his gang life and policies, Hustle Street Life Corner, and his store, Marathon Clothing. Now, Michael Safi, an American reporter for The Guardian, identified the 77th Division of the LAPD as the ones that looked at Hussle, canvassing his family, his associates, and his business. He said, Nipsey and his family and friends all had frequent contact with the LAPD. LAPD had a lot of interest in Nipsey and his business efforts from the very start. His brother Sam told the reporter how they used to sell stuff on the street corner, how the LAPD would come over and hassle them. We all heard that story before. Now they're saying the success of the store brand and Nipsey's career was unexpected under the suspect by the LAPD. In 2017, the two brothers opened a store. Finally, they were able to open up the store. We all know that. Now, the police presence actually went up, even though the store was positive and totally legal. Allegedly, even when out-of-state off-duty officers would come in and support the business as fans of Nipsey, they wouldn't be interrogated by the beat cops focused on finding crack in the new businesses. So this goes on. We kind of had a suspicion, but hearing this and hearing that there was an official operation called Operation Laser, oh God, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So I just had my stuff on mute. So I wanted to stop the video there. So let's get into that a little bit because the COINTELPRO, all that is real. How can we protect ourselves from that? How can we educate first the people on what that is, and how can we protect ourselves from that and kind of move forward in this force that we're living in?
Yeah, the only way we're going to be able to protect ourselves from that is to control the space where we live. And we have to not just control the space, but we have to have a team that's on the same page. And that team can't be on the same page if they're not connected spiritually. So we have to do a few things to protect ourselves. We got to be safe physically, but you can't be safe physically if you don't control the space where you live. So when we say we have to own and or control cities, it's just that. Because if other people can control the space where you live, then they can send anybody to get you. So we have to have a team of people that understand the level of evil and brutality that we're dealing with. And this is why we push back against a lot of our brothers and sisters who believe in the sovereign citizenship approach, because white people don't care about your sovereign status. White people don't care about your borders. A lot of people don't know that Killmonger from the movie Black Panther, that unit he was in, that JSOC, that's a real unit. And that's what they do, right? So we gotta understand what we're up against, and we gotta have our own, again, hashtag ninjas. We gotta have our own people in place to do things, because it's not a matter of if what we do is going to be targeted for destruction. It's when and how, because it's what they've always done. But again, you can't do that, Sister Taylor, if you don't have people who are serious about what we're up against, and they're serious about pushing back, serious about protecting our children, serious about feeding ourselves, serious about employing ourselves, you got to have a certain kind of mindset to say, I'm going to be all in as much as possible to build a black nation within this nation, because I understand if I don't, my children and every black child to follow has a snowball's chance in hell of ever having a life worth living. Not everybody's ready to say that, and even few are ready to actually do something to make that a reality. So we protect ourselves by controlling the space, and to control that space requires a lot. But if anybody can do it, black people can.
Yes, as noted, that we can do anything that we actually put our minds to and put the work
Right.
in to do.
That is right. That is
That's right. You gotta put you can't just put your mind to it. You gotta put the work in behind it.
Right. Otherwise, you're just dreaming.
Right. Right. And everybody needs to wake up. It's time. Right?
Yeah, it's past time.
You've been in snooze a little too long. It's overdue, baby. It's overdue. So tell people how they can get involved with the nation. How can they get involved? I see they can become an ambassador. Tell people what they can do. What are the different things they can do to get involved and get on board with your nation?
There are two ways to get involved. I'll say the first one is by becoming a registered voter for our leadership election this coming June. That is very, 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 very important, because we cannot have a nation if we don't have people who know what they're doing in all the areas whereby we're being attacked and where we are deficient as a people. So we got to have people who know what they're doing in politics. We got to have people who know what they're doing in agriculture. We got to have people who know what they're doing in youth education. We've identified 28 different categories, and we're looking for candidates and cabinet members in all of them.
Do you want me to read the categories?
It's up to you.
Yeah, it looks like you have agriculture, economics and finance, education, foreign policy, information technology, legal, media, marketing and PR, wellness, municipal development and organization, and national security. So those are the
yes, those are the main divisions.
Mm-hmm.
So main departments, and below those departments we have several different divisions. Like municipal development, there's about 6 or 7 different divisions, because that municipal development is how we run our cities. How are we going to take over these cities and run them? So you got to have some people who know what they're doing in certain spaces. So that would be the first. That's probably be the easiest way: registering to vote in the election, because by registering to vote, you can help us not only find candidates, but of course you can vote to be to either be you can vote for yourself as a candidate, or you can vote for the candidates that we have that we're constantly adding every week. That's the first way. Second way is, if you want to actually become a member of the nation, you can go to our website, blackownation.com, click on events, find the the League of Extraordinary Minds introduction presentation. We do that. I give that presentation 4 times a week. I give it live via Zoom, and that's where I lay it out. I give you everything that we're trying to do, how we're trying to do it. Of course, I talk about the why. I say the why repeatedly, and then from that, I ask you. I'm officially asking that you become a basic member, and then we go from there. So, if a person wants to come on board and really get involved and help us start doing this thing on the ground, grassroots level, then that would be where
Looks like we got a little frozen there. That's been happening throughout tonight's broadcast. I tend to think when our conversations are more serious, the broadcast just freezes somehow. It's so funny how that happens. But while it's frozen, I'm going to actually bring this onto the screen. Let me see if I can make this bigger. And this is the get involved page. So why he lost connection, he's probably going to be back in a few minutes. So you can become an ambassador, you can sponsor a department, you can become a member, you can you can be a volunteer in your state for the Black Gold Nation, or you can just make donations if you're not ready to do all those things. I'm going to try to hold on there until he comes back. Yep. All right. So let's go over here to their support page and become a Black Gold supporter. You can support the building of a Black Gold Nation with influence, value, and power. There we go. Here he comes. He's back. Here we go. There you go.
I'm not at home, so I apologize for the connection.
That's okay. I just was showing the site while you were gone, so we could so just to give a little filler. So this is the get involved page. Obviously, you spoke about them becoming an ambassador. Looks like they can even just be a sponsor of a specific department, make a donation, become a member, or a volunteer. So that's all great ways that they can get involved with the nation.
Yeah, and I want to say, Sister Taylor, I want to say that keep in mind that this is not a sprint; it's a marathon.
Mm-hmm.
You may not see the end result of what we're trying to build. We got to understand that centuries old problems are not going to go away in a few months. To get started in this organization is the first step in a journey that's probably going to last, if you stick with us, for the rest of your life, because we understand that we're fighting for our survival, and we're fighting for our children and every generation of Black child to follow. There have been melanated groups that have come into contact with Caucasians that are no longer here, and we could most certainly be one of those groups. When Europeans got to the shores of North America, there are over 500 Native American nations. You'd be hard pressed to find a healthy chew. Wiped out. So we got to understand again what we're dealing with, what we're up against, the severity of it. And as I always say, we got to get real about what we're up against. And we got to understand that nothing is more sacred than the empowerment, freedom, liberation, salvation of Black people. And if we don't think that way, if we don't think nothing is more sacred, then we will allow our jobs to get in the way, our businesses to get in the way, our kids to get in the way, our boyfriends, girlfriends, or whatever. And none of that is more important than our freedom, because if we're not free, you're not going to have that stuff anyway.
Right. And if you're not, I mean, you're just going to continue to repeat the same mistakes that you've always repeated.
Which is what we do. Is what we do.
Yeah, it is what we do.
Yep.
It is what we do. So I have the Revolutionary Code page up here. So this is great. Is this where everyone can go watch the podcasts? And
oh yeah, it's a bunch of. We're on episode. I think our next episode is 70.
Let me see. Oh wow, this is great. So guys, please make sure you guys go visit the website www.blackgoldnation.com. They have so many great things going on over there. They have it's just solution-based platform. And really, like, your platform, it's amazing. Kudos to you and your team for putting this together. I mean, we're getting great feedback from the audience right now.
Let me say, Sister Taylor, that it's important for everybody to understand and realize that our goal is to bring as many Black people on board as possible, because we understand we can't do it on our own. We need Black people, again, who know what they're doing in the areas that we're being attacked and where we're deficient. That's why we're having the leadership election. So if someone is watching, if they have expertise in a given area, or they know someone who has expertise in a given area, we need to talk to that person, because we need them to be a candidate in the election. And the idea is that if we have 5, 6, 7 candidates for a given area, and they all bring 10 plus years of experience, then whomever wins will run that area, but they will have a cabinet of 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 years of experience in that area, and they can take care of how Black people should be maneuvering in that area, because they have so many experience. But again, it's not one area, it's 28 of them. So we are not saying that we can do it on our own, because we know we can't. No organization can. We're not saying you have to have a certain religion, because we don't give a damn. We're not saying that you got to be, you can't be married, you can't have a white person in your family, or you can't be married to a white person. We're not saying any of that. We say three things. If you can agree with us on three things, then those three things are enough. And those three things are: we are black, we are oppressed, and we seek to end our oppression. And I don't care if you don't like the word black. If you want to use ADOS, FBA, descendants of slaves, African descended, Alpha and Omega, Hebrew, Moor, Israelite, all the same people.
All
All
the
the same
same
people
people.
descended from Africa with melanin. So,
Right.
however you title yourself, you are part of that black group. So, if we can agree that we're in the same group, we're oppressed, and we want to end it. Anything else we can discuss and deal with as we're building. But we got to get
Right.
that right first. And again, we understand that everybody's going to agree. That's okay. If I remind people that if Harriet Tubman, if Harriet Tubman couldn't get people to understand that they were slaves during slavery time and be free, you know it's going to be difficult for us because we can go to Walmart and hang out with white people.
Yep. So thank you so much for that. So let me ask you, Brother Tamani, because the show's wrapping up now. We're getting to the close. So I wanted to have you go ahead and talk a little bit more about some of the other things that you have going on, because I read your bio and it looks like, I mean, you're just an entrepreneur extraordinaire. I see you're involved in a couple of other companies. You have like a tech company, and like a social media marketing company. So talk about your other companies and your other entrepreneur ventures that you have going on.
Well, I'm trying to get away from all of that because I really need to do Black Gold Nation full time. So my company, Clearly Written Solutions, it is a technical communications and business communications company. What that means is I write stuff to explain stuff for small businesses. Verbiage on the website, I build a website, business plan, marketing proposal, blah blah blah, all that. Logo development, but I'm trying to get away from that. I'm trying to do Black Gold Nation full time because it's a full time job to be a revolutionary.
It is a full time job.
It's a full time job, right? And
Yeah.
If it's done the right way, then you can generate the revenue you need to keep it going. So that's Clearly Written Solutions, but I really don't want to put a lot of focus into it because it's not where I'm trying to go. I'm trying to leave it because Black Gold Nation requires full time, and that's where I am.
Well, thank goodness for that. Thank goodness for you and your team, all the leadership that you have in place, the ambassadors. I am very interested in becoming an ambassador for Pennsylvania.
Cool.
So, there's a lot of things, obviously, that go on in all the states across the nation.
That's right.
Where we're not in safe spaces and
That's right.
we don't have any control. We don't have any power. We don't have any say. So obviously, even this platform, I'll even say, like, I'm in all of. I'm so glad you've done it. It's something that I would dream about doing.
Yeah.
And you've actually put it into action. So thank you for that. You've done the footwork. You've done a lot of the footwork for all of us. And it really seems like it covers pretty much every basis that we would need to really have it's really a nation building platform.
Right. And the idea, Sister Taylor, is that I don't want to compete against you.
Right.
I
Never.
don't
right.
Steal from me. I don't have that kind of time. I don't have that
Right.
interest. We have to find black wheels that are already rolling,
Mm-hmm.
and we have to support those black wheels so that they can help us roll even more. So if you've been in this media space for a minute and you love what you do, then there is nothing stopping you from being a candidate for our media marketing PR department, so you can run it. That don't mean that you
Absolutely.
stop doing what you do. That means that you add what we need to do to what you do. So
Right. And get the word out even more. Yeah.
we got to find people who are already doing what needs to be done, and everything black people need, black people have, but black people don't know it because black people don't talk to each other,
Right.
and we got to change that. Two of our greatest weaknesses are that we're not connected and we're not organized. If we were connected and we were organized, half the ish we deal with, we wouldn't have to, because we see it coming and we'd be able to stop it. But we got a lot of work to do. We got to understand that this is a system that is anti-system is by having your own system that you can push back with, and we don't have that. But we got to build it, because if we don't, again, we are running the risk of becoming a permanent underclass in a country that was built on the backs of our ancestors.
Absolutely. Well said. Well said. So I want to get some of the audience reaction. We've had a lot of actual interaction from the audience, and I love the interaction from the audience because it makes me feel like they're watching, they're a part of it, they're learning something. Hopefully they're sharing it so someone else can learn something. Go ahead.
So the election will be online in June, the last weekend in June, and we're having our first inauguration where we're bringing everybody together in Houston, Texas after the election. So in June we vote. In October we come together last weekend in October in Houston, Texas, so that we can meet everybody, so we can hear from the new leadership. We can start having workshops. We can strategize. Blah blah blah. So I'm really, really, really excited because we're going to do some things that most Black people have never been a part of, and it's going to be life changing. One example is that we're going to have a play about slavery that's psychodrama, and most of us don't know what psychodrama is, but we got a lot of repressed pain that we got to start getting out so we can deal with it and move forward, especially our brothers. So that's just one thing that we're doing. So I want to make sure that people know that it's not just an online one-time thing. We absolutely must do every single thing we can to build our own nation, and you can't do that without capable Black people. I'm done. You're muted.
Thank you. So Isaac said he absolutely wants in, and he's down. He's from Philadelphia. I know Isaac. He's a cool brother. He can definitely be a great asset to the Black Gold Nation, as we all could be. We all have to, like Brother Tamani said, we all have the capability to join and to do. We have the tools already necessary to do what we need to do. A lot of us are already doing it, but it's like we're by ourselves because we're not connected and organized, like you said. So, I think
we're fighting in silos in our own way, but we don't realize that as strong as you are in that one particular area, you got 27 other ones that you're not paying attention. That's how you go. They're not going to attack you when you're strong.
Right.
Attack you when you're weak. That's why you need allies who are watching your six, so to speak.
Right. Absolutely. I love it. So that's great. Everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, Brother Tamani, for being here. The Black Gold Nation, a community building nation, a community building platform. If you'd like to get more involved, please go visit the website, www.blackgoldnation.com. Obviously, you can reach out to me if you don't have that written down or whatever. And I will connect you with Brother Tamani, and we will make sure that you guys get to him and, get on board if it's something that you guys want to get involved with. I want to thank you so much, Brother Tamani, for being here. We've been really trying to connect since 2016, I would say. I think it might have been since 2016. Yeah. So, but back then that's when I really started BTV. Actually I started in 2014, but 2016 is when I came into social media and had a page and did all that. So I was actually just starting out then too, and we looks like we both came a long way. So we both have some things to be proud of, and I cannot wait to collaborate with you and do more work with you in the future. I definitely want to get on board with being an ambassador, and maybe for the election in June, BTV can cover that. We can work something out. We just keep it going. That's and right. Keep the circle going and keep encouraging each other and keep supporting each other, because at the end of the day, that's all we have.
That's all we got. All we have is the person in the mirror, and if we don't realize nobody is coming, we're in trouble.
We're in trouble.
Coming to save Black people.
Yep, they ain't coming to save us. We're in trouble. So, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to B.E.E.C.A.U.S.E. If we don't, who will? This has been episode Black Gold Nation. And, of course, B.E.E.C.A.U.S.E. is where Black education empowers and creates all unity, saving everything. The more we do that, the better off we are. I'm going to go ahead and end the show with our outro video. Thank you so much for tuning in. Peace, love, and blessings.
Yeah. BTV Productions.
What I'm gonna talk about. Justice, equality. What I'm gonna talk about. Freedom. What I'm gonna talk about. Justice, equality. Yeah. Freedom for you and for me. is Allah going to do for his nation? What is the earth going to do for their nation? So if you want things to change, if you want things to become better,